Hi everyone, it's Niall from windowsnoob.com, and today I'm going to talk about retire my PC. I tweeted a picture of the application recently and it got a lot of attention. So this video is going to show you how it works and why we use it. So let's focus on the why first of all. Why do we want to retire a PC? Well, we're all familiar with Windows Autopilot. It's a great way of delivering new computers straight from the OEM, as you can see here, new devices. And those devices can be delivered directly to the end user, coming from the OEM, delivered directly to the end user. And the end user has a self-service experience, and they get connected to their business, and they work, and so forth. But what happens to their old device, the device that this new Windows Autopilot PC replaces? You don't see too many people talking about that, but there are old devices and we need to do something with them. Those old devices typically contain everything that that user was using to do their job. So they will contain company sensitive information on the hard drive. So the Retire My PC app is designed to be a self-service app that gives the end user the ability, when they're ready, to retire their PC themselves without having to really understand what's happening in the back end. So let's take a look at the application and see how it works. So in this particular case, we've got a PC which is connected to an on-premise environment. It's domain joined. This is the old PC, so to speak. We can also see that we've got Software Center open and there's some apps available, one of which is Retire My PC. If we open up a PowerShell command prompt and type the following, we can see that the hard drive is fully encrypted, which it pretty much should be in any enterprise computer nowadays, encrypted with BitLocker, and that protects the data at rest. Right? So when Windows is running, it's unlocked, so you can use Windows, but when the device is off or the drive is removed from that device, it is protected. So what else can we show here? We can show the actual recovery key ID and password. Okay, and we can see there that we have a recovery ID. So if we go to ConfigMgr, because this is configuration manager using BitLocker management built in, and this is actually ConfigMgr version 2103. I've tested it on both ConfigMgr 2010 and 2103. And if we go into SQL and look at the keys that are available there, we can see that this particular device, the recovery key ID, is present, right? And that is what you would expect. You would expect that that device, BitLocker information is in the database, right? So everything is working as designed. However, the user in question has just got a new PC. They've been using it for 2 weeks. It came with Windows Autopilot. They love Windows Autopilot, and they've backed up all their information, and now it's time to retire this PC. They've got the email from their boss saying, within 2 weeks, retire your PC, run the app, and then stick it in the box that the new PC came in and send it back to us. Okay? So that is the scenario here. So let's be the user and let's self-service retire my PC. So as you can see, I'm just running it directly from Software Center. And one of the requirements of this application is that the devices are fully encrypted. There are several checks that take place within the application. It verifies if the device is BitLockered or not. If BitLocker is suspended, it will attempt to enable it. if it cannot enable it, or if if the device is not BitLockered, it will abort out of the retire operation. So that is a requirement. You have to be BitLockered. The second requirement is that the device needs an internet connection, because this does connect back to Azure to report on what has been done. More of that later. So what we see here is the application, the self-service application that the end user will see. And there are 3 checkboxes. These checkboxes have to be selected by the end user. They have to confirm my files are backed up in OneDrive. They have to confirm that they've received their new PC. And they have to confirm that they want to retire this PC. And as you can see, when they've enabled all 3 buttons, the OK button is now clickable. When they click on the OK button, they get a final warning, and the warning tells them that this will leave the computer unable to start. Remember, we're retiring this PC. We're making it as hard as possible in an easy way for others to read that sensitive data on the computer. So one of the important lines I'll draw your attention to is this one here. Windows will not be able to start anymore. So that's an important message. Let's click OK, because we're the good user. We're retiring the PC, and let's see what happens. Off it goes. It's writing to a log file right now. It's doing operations with the TPM. And some of the operations are definitely designed to brick this device. When it comes to testing, you can rem out those actions so that it's less destructive when you're testing. Otherwise, it will make your testing quite difficult. And as you can see, or maybe you can see in the corner here, I just got an email. So here we see the email has arrived, and let's open that up. And in the email, we have information about the user has retired the following computer. We've got some model information, serial number, and so forth, and the date of the retirement. And we've got a log file, which we can open up. And in the log file, you've lots of information, including exactly what the user clicked on. So you can see they clicked OK. So we've got a record of the fact that they clicked OK to all those buttons. You can see it's disabling the ConfigMgr agent. It's disabling the Microsoft MBAM agent. It sets things on the TPM. It clears the TPM protector. It actually takes a record of the numerical password. It wipes the BCD and rotates the key after after stopping both the ConfigMgr and the MBAM agent services, which means that the new key, after it's rotated, does not end up either in the MBAM database or, if you're using ConfigMgr, ConfigMgr's database, right? So the key has rotated on the client and it's not uploaded. The BCD is also wiped, so this device will not boot into Windows even if you have the recovery key, right? Then some triggers are used in Azure to store this information in Azure. It's then verified with another trigger. And once there is a match found, it confirms that the device is added and emails the logs, which we're just looking at right now. So if we take a look in Azure, and very quickly, you can see I've got a Retire My PC resource group. We'll go into that. And in there, we've got a bunch of things, such as the Retire My PC storage account and some function app, which contains 3 triggers. So if we go into the storage account and click on Storage Explorer, you will see that we have an Azure table. And in there, we have records of all the devices that we've retired, who retired them, what the serial number was, and so on. Make, model, information that you need to report on later. Okay, so we've got everything reported up to Azure Tables. We've got a log file sent in an email. Well, what about the client, the computer that we just retired? What happens to that? So here is that computer. Let's start it up and see what happens after it's retired. And there we have it. You can choose a keyboard layout. Let's choose US. We have two options. We can troubleshoot or we can turn off the PC. Let's imagine we've just found this computer. It fell off the back of a truck or someone sold it to us cheap. And we want to, well, see, is there any data on it? Well, we could troubleshoot. We could try the startup, repair. We could try this. We could try this. We could try this. We could try this. None of them will do anything. You just won't get anywhere. It will prompt for the recovery key. And of course, the end user won't have that because they're not going to have the email. The ConfigMgr admin is not going to have the recovery key because it's not in ConfigMgr's database. So the only person that will know what the recovery key is, or the recovery password, is the person who has access to that mailbox, right? They will have a copy of it, and that's only a get out of jail free card in case someone clicked all those boxes, agreed to retire, and then realized, oops, I left my financial report in my XYZ folder. If that's the case, they can go here, or an admin can go in here. They can click on that. They can put in the recovery key that is in that email, which I just showed you, and open up the win.ap.securewipe.log, and they can take that key, type it in here, and it will give them access to the files on the computer, right? So that is the only way back into this computer. You cannot start Windows on it ever again. All right? So that is what happens to the client. It is essentially a brick. Windows will not start. The only thing that you can really do with this is, as I said, reinstall Windows, start again from scratch. All right. So that is the purpose of the Retire My PC app. I hope that you're excited about what it does and that you will give it a try once I release the blog post, which is coming very shortly, I promise. That was a quick look. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Bye.